Alright guys, Darren from FBA Elite and welcome back to another video. So this week I was planning on showing you some product research methods. However, I've had to deal with seller support this week, so I wanted to share with my experience. So for anyone that's thinking about getting involved with Amazon, you are fully aware upfront how difficult it can be to deal with seller support. So this issue actually started the day before last week's video, and unfortunately it took quite a few days to resolve it. So I've managed to put together pretty much a story of what happened as best as I possibly can. There's a lot more involved in what you're actually going to see today, but this should give you a general overview of what happened in the past week or so. So up first we have an email alert that I received from Helium 10. So I use this to track my listing, so if there's ever any changes on my listing, I'll get an alert by email within a few seconds from Helium 10 telling me about the issue. So as you can see, this alert came through on Thursday the 15th of October, and it had showed that the old image, which I've been using for the best part of 2 years, had been replaced by a new image which another seller had uploaded. Now as the brand owner, another seller shouldn't be able to change the image, let alone them actually change it without me being notified. Usually if someone tries to change the listing, I'll receive an email from Amazon about a request for a change, which I can usually then just deny as the brand owner. So my first thoughts were, okay, someone's changed the photo, let's just log in and change it back. So I went to Seller Central, went to the edit page, tried to remove the photos, and I couldn't. There was no functionality to actually remove the photos this other seller had uploaded. Now the other seller hadn't changed bullet points or descriptions, and they hadn't actually become a seller on the listing either. So my thoughts are they were just generally trying to sabotage the listing, and that would make sense as that product has been out of stock for a month or two. As I mentioned in the previous video, I kind of mistimed the inventory during lockdown. So it only just come back into stock last week, so I'd been running PPC for a couple of days before someone changed the images. And the images had nothing to do with the product that I sell, so I think another seller was just trying to sabotage my listing. So I went, like I say, I went to the edit page, tried to remove the photos, I couldn't. I then went to the help section, and there is an automated tool for updating the listing, tried to remove the photos, and it said, as you are the brand owner, try updating the photos yourself rather than going through the help section. So you can imagine my frustration at that stage. So the next obvious thing to do was actually to contact seller support, and as you can see here, between the 15th and the 22nd, there's a good 6 or 7 cases that I had open with seller support trying to get this resolved, as everyone was just, to be honest, completely incompetent at simply just removing a few images. So I opened up the first case with seller support and explained to them the situation. I said, look, I'm the brand owner, I've been unable to remove the images either via the Seller Central edit page or via the help section. I need to remove these images as they are misleading customers. So seller support looked into it, and this was the response that I got. We understand you suggested images change to this product, so I've removed the details. We noticed that you are the registered brand owner for this ASIN. You can get a faster resolution by editing the product detail page directly through your manage inventory page. Now this is exactly what I was just saying I was unable to do. I've tried to edit the images through that section, but the functionality was not there as I did not upload those images. So despite the fact I spelled it out as clear as day to seller support that I could not remove the images, they just gave me this kind of canned response telling me what to do. So we did this for 2 or 3 days of me exchanging messages with seller support, and that's why we have multiple cases open here trying to get this resolved. Eventually it got to Sunday, and I'd had enough of kind of going back and forth on live chat and emails with seller support, so I decided to call seller support. Now before I did that, on a number of the emails I'd sent them this screenshot which showed the 3 photos that I was unable to remove. You know, like I always say with seller support, be very, very clear with them. So this screenshot showed them the 3 photos that I needed removing, and the ones in green reflected my images. Now usually if you're editing a listing, you'd have little crosses here where you can delete product photos, but there was no crosses available for me to delete these photos. And as you can see here, when multiple sellers sell the same product for a single detail page, we combine and present the best product data to ensure the customers get the best experience. So what I think they're saying there is there are multiple sellers uploading multiple photos, there's a chance that there'll be photos here that the other sellers have uploaded that you cannot remove. Now like I say, this seller didn't actually become a seller, so I think they've just done this purely to sabotage the listing. So like I said, I sent this screenshot over a number of times, they still did not seem to get what the issue was. Finally, I called them and had a good chat with them and explained the situation that had been going on for quite a few days, and if I scroll down to the bottom here, you can see here I had a phone call with Amazon. This is the message I included in the call request box. So you give them the details first, then they call you, and it's pretty much an immediate call, so you get through to someone within a few minutes, and explain the situation. So I said to the person, I've been going back and forth with seller support for a number of days with no resolution. This ticket needs to get escalated. And to be fair, the guy was very helpful and he did escalate the ticket. And sure enough, I received a ticket reply from another member of seller support an hour or so later. So I called around 3 PM and had a response by 3:50 PM. And they said, look, I understand you'd like to update the images. As you're unable to remove the images from your end, please provide us proof so that we can update the images from the back end. Now, I don't know why they need this when I'm the brand owner and they know that I'm the brand owner. But either way, as I always say with Amazon, they'll give you hoops and you have to jump through them regardless of what you think of those hoops. So I looked through the list of stuff and I decided to go with this one. Thankfully, I had one of the products in my office brand new, so I was able to take the photos they wanted. So I thought, okay, although I don't like jumping through these hoops, if I just go through this process, hopefully someone will remove these photos that the other seller had uploaded that was misleading customers. So I kept it very short. I said, look, this is what I've done. So I literally copy and pasted their bullet point and attached some photos showing all of the things they wanted to see. So that was it. I thought, right, this is it. Finally, we're going to get this resolved. And then what happened? We received a reply from seller support with exactly the reply they had sent me 3 or 4 days earlier. You can see here, you can get the faster resolution by editing the product detail page yourself. So, we've noticed you're the registered brand owner, which if I go back to that original ticket, we can see here, that is exactly what they said. So at that point, as you can imagine, I was fairly frustrated to receive the same canned response from someone that had clearly not read the ticket and could see exactly what was going on. So my next reply was less than, it was still polite, it just wasn't, it was just getting to the point. So I said, can you please read the case history thoroughly before replying? I even used capitals, which I don't like doing, but we're unable to remove the photos, so your help is required to remove them. And then they did respond to that and said, look, we're going to escalate your ticket. So we've alerted our specialist to your issue and forwarded your case to their attention. And then finally, 2 days later, I received a response saying that they understood the issue and they have updated the images. Now, they replied on the 20th, but I did receive an alert from Helium 10 on the 18th, and that's when the images were actually uploaded. So despite the fact they didn't reply for 2 days, the issue did get resolved on that Sunday evening, and then they just replied for 2 days later for some reason. So I thought, okay, great, it's a 4-day issue. During that time, I turned off all of my PPC. I lost some ranks as I wasn't making any sales. Unfortunately, a customer still bought the product, so someone's going to get a product that looks nothing like what the photos were of the product that they ordered. So I'm sure that's going to lead to a return or probably a negative review. But I was hoping that was the end of the issue. However, from 9 PM on Sunday until 2 AM on Monday, so literally 5 hours, I then received another alert from Helium 10 saying my listing had been suppressed as there was an issue with the main image. Now, the main image that they had restored, well, like I said earlier in the video, was an image I've been using for the best part of 2 years. So I have no idea why they all of a sudden decided to suppress that listing. So as that was 2 in the morning, I didn't actually see that till I woke up. So Monday, kind of during the day, I just took that main image, tweaked it a little bit so it didn't look exactly the same, re-uploaded it, and that activated the listing. So that did resolve the issue for a little bit. Now, I had opened a ticket, not a ticket, I'd opened a thread about this on the FBA Elite forums to try and get some support from other sellers. And a shout out to DJS26, he's been massively helpful with me this week and has even provided me some step-by-step instructions for things that I hadn't done before. So DJS recommended that I uploaded my product using the inventory upload tool, which is a spreadsheet-based system. As he said, if seller support make manual adjustments to your listing, sometimes that costs you the brand registry protection that is assigned to your product. So by uploading the spreadsheet, that should go back to protecting your listing as the brand owner. So I thought, yep, that sounded like a good approach. And he provided me a step-by-step guide on how to put this spreadsheet together. So I put the spreadsheet together, uploaded my product, it all got uploaded, all got the green light, thought everything was absolutely fine. Come back the next morning, logged into Seller Central, and my product had disappeared. Now, I'm not going to blame this one on seller support, as I'm guessing there was maybe something in the spreadsheet that wasn't quite right, but there is still an issue here with seller support. So when I went into Seller Central and went to manage FBA inventory, my product was missing. So I opened up a live chat with seller support and said to them, look, my product has disappeared from Seller Central. However, I can still see it in the search results, and there has also been an order coming for this morning as well. So I'm not really sure what's going on. So they said, let me look into it, and I left the case open with them. However, in the meantime, I noticed what had happened is where I'd done the inventory upload, the product listing had been converted from FBA to FBM. So when I was in Seller Central choosing Manage FBA Inventory, you couldn't see the product because it had become FBM inventory instead of FBA inventory. So I just converted it back from FBM to FBA, and that solved the issue completely, and things have been absolutely fine ever since. However, Seller Support did follow up a little bit later about this issue, and this was their response to me inquiring as to why my product had gone missing in Seller Central. So their response was, we understand you have an issue with the listing for ASIN XXXX. We've investigated it thoroughly and found the following. Your listing is not currently assigned to a product category, therefore it is not searchable on Amazon, and it tells you how to update your category. Now there's two issues with this. One, the product was assigned to a category, and the issue was because the spreadsheet had converted it to FBM instead of FBA, so I don't know where they've got this information from. I double checked on both front end and back end, and the product was definitely assigned to a category. And secondly, the instructions they provide there are actually completely out of date, as it's not called category anymore, it's called the parent node, and it's on a different tab to what they recommend as well. So I don't know what this Seller Support person was looking at, but the information they gave me was wrong on 2 levels. So there we go. I know that was quite a rant. I need to get my breath back now. So what are the takeaways from this video? One, you need to track your products. You need to monitor your products. I use Helium 10. There's other software that can do this, but I would definitely recommend Helium 10 as their response time to any changes is super quick. I'll put some discount codes in the comments, and I'll probably pop one up on screen as well. The second one, if you have an issue, do not take Seller Support's first response if it isn't acceptable. You have to go back and forth. You can see there I had 6 or 7 cases open before I got this issue resolved. Also, if you need additional support, go onto FBAelite.com, open up a thread on there, and I'm sure myself or other people will try to help you out. But just do whatever you can to avoid dealing with Seller Support. If we go back to my case history, you can see here, I rarely deal with Seller Support. I mean, the last time before October was the 7th of June and then March. So if I can avoid dealing with them, I absolutely will. And I'd strongly recommend anyone to avoid dealing with Seller Support where possible, as most of the time they are fairly incompetent. So that's been what's happening with me this week. Like I say, this video was supposed to be about product research. It's supposed to be the follow-up to the product research criteria cheat sheet that I released last week. Instead, I'll do that video next week. So I'll do a video next week on all the product research methods, and I will answer all the questions in that video related to the product research criteria that were asked last week, as that is going to be more relevant. So I hope you guys have found this useful, seeing how my interactions have gone with Seller Support this week and how I was able to resolve the issues of my images being replaced by another seller. If you did find it useful, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment, scroll down, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to discuss Amazon FBA with myself and over 2,000 other people in a similar situation to you, go to FBAelite.com, sign up. It's completely free, and I'll see you guys on the forums.